There are quite a few people in this world who make it difficult for us to believe that they actually do exist on this same planet and are so bizarre. They have a lot of weirdness, or do things so far off the rails that it goes beyond what most people could even process. And back in the days of traveling circuses and freak shows, these people didn't receive special perks, but were shown as living oddities for everyone else's amusement. And today, you're going to see exactly that. So let's begin this countdown with number 15, two-headed Mexican. Well, in reality, Pasquale Piñon didn't have two heads, but that didn't stop promoters from selling him as the two-headed Mexican. A railroad worker in Texas, Piñon, had a large tumor growing from his scalp. A promoter saw him and then instantly decided it would make money. They placed a molded wax face over the tumor and passed it off as a second head. The result didn't look convincing, but it didn't have to. Audiences believed it anyway. Piñon would sit silently while people stared at the lump, which now had fake eyes, a nose, and lips. It was a hoax, but one built on a real deformity. There's an actual condition called craniopagus parasiticus, where a person is born with a parasitic twin attached to the skull. Piñon didn't have that, but no one cared. His story sits somewhere between fraud and exploitation. The tumor was real. The second head wasn't. But for the crowds, all that mattered was the freaky spectacle. Number 14, the Oklahoma mannequin mummy. Before his death, Elmer McCurdy was a small-time crook. After death, he became one of the sideshow history's strangest legends. Killed by lawmen in 1911 during a failed train robbery, McCurdy's body was taken to an Oklahoma funeral home. No one claimed it. So the undertaker embalmed it heavily and propped him up for display. People paid to see him. 5 years later, a carnival promoter posed as a relative and took the body. For the next 60 years, McCurdy's corpse was passed around sideshows, carnivals, wax museums, and even a haunted house. By then, people thought he was a mannequin. That changed in 1976 when someone accidentally broke off his arm and discovered bone. A museum ticket stub was still stuck in his mouth. Police confirmed the body was real and traced it back. McCurdy was finally buried in 1977. While he badly failed at being an outlaw, in his death, he became a traveling exhibit no one could forget. Number 13, Le Pétomane. Well, flatulence is normal, unless you can weaponize it. Joseph Pujol, or famously known as Le Pétomane, made his name in late 19th century France by doing exactly that. He had a rare ability. He could draw in large amounts of air or water through his rectum and expel it with total control. His act wasn't cool, but it was astonishing. Pujol could blow out candles, shoot water across the stage, and even play wind instruments using only his backside. Yes, it's ridiculous, but the precision was real. He was wildly popular, eventually performing at the Moulin Rouge to sold-out crowds. What made him even more unusual was that doctors never fully understood how he did it. After he died in 1945, medical researchers asked to examine his body, but his family refused. There was gimmicks, or circus tricks, just a man with a bizarre physical gift and the nerve to use it in public. Le Pétomane wasn't elegant, but he was unforgettable. Number 12, Lavinia Warren. When Lavinia Warren married the famous General Tom Thumb in 1863, even President Abraham Lincoln hosted them at the White House. The New York Times covered their wedding like royal news, calling her a queen of beauty. It was the peak of the freak show era, when performers became celebrities rather than curiosities. Lavinia had started touring in 1858 with her uncle's Maritime Museum, later joining P.T. Barnum's American Museum in New York. Barnum, always chasing headlines, used her romance with Charles Stratton, General Tom Thumb, as perfect publicity. The couple's engagement drew record crowds and made them famous worldwide. After Stratton's death in 1883, Lavinia remarried fellow performer Count Primo Magri, but by then, freak shows were fading from public favor. Still, she remained dignified and admired until her death in 1919. Lavinia Warren proved that small stature never meant small presence. She stood tall in a world that measured worth by spectacle and novelty. Number 11. The Great Regurgitator. Haji Ali didn't juggle or sing. He swallowed and regurgitated on command. Performing in the 1920s, Ali became the world's most famous regurgitator. He could drink large amounts of water, then kerosene, and spit them back out separately. His act included igniting kerosene into flames, then vomiting water to put them out. Audiences weren't sure what they were watching, magic or biology, but it was real. He could hit targets from 6 feet away and did so while smiling. His act traced back to earlier water spouter traditions that dated as far as the 17th century, but Ali's control was unmatched. It wasn't a trick. He trained his throat and stomach to hold and release at will. It was messy, strange, and impossible to copy. Haji Ali combined precision with pure spectacle, using his body in ways that stunned both scientists and spectators. There was no illusion, just technique, discomfort, and one truly unique skill. Number 10. Caroline Crachami. Interest in primordial dwarfism has grown in recent years, with documentaries highlighting these rare, fragile conditions that seem almost otherworldly. Often linked to fairy tale imagery, the earliest documented case was Caroline Crachami, the Sicilian fairy. Her story, depending on who's telling it, shifts between heartbreaking and inspirational. What's certain is that she was exploited by people who saw her as a novelty. A pamphlet titled Memoirs of Miss Crachami claims she was born on November 15, 1815, in Palermo, just 1 pound in weight, 8 inches long. The smallest of 5 children, she was taken to England in 1824. Under Dr. Gilligan's supervision, she toured cities like Liverpool, Oxford, and London. In Mayfair, crowds lined up to feed her biscuits, pat her head, and watch her slowly cross a stage. On June 3, 1824, after entertaining more than 200 people in one day, her body gave out. She collapsed and died, used up by those who saw her as entertainment, not human. So, what do you think about her? Let us know. Number 9. Angelo Rosito. Angelo Rosito didn't need a circus. He built a 60-year film career without one. Standing at just 2 feet 11 inches, Rosito racked up over 70 film credits between 1927 and 1987. Born in Omaha, he later ran a newsstand in Los Angeles and used acting as side income. His screen debut came in The Beloved Rogue, 1927, with John Barrymore. From there, he never slowed down. Rosito played monsters, sidekicks, elves, and weirdos, sometimes buried in prosthetics, sometimes just himself. He appeared in Freaks, Spooks Run Wild, Dracula vs. Frankenstein, The Corpse Vanishes, and as Master in Mad Max, Beyond Thunderdome. He also showed up in cult TV shows like H.R. Pufnstuf and Lidsville. While many sideshow stars faded from memory after Freaks, Rosito kept working, never typecast, always visible. He navigated Hollywood with persistence and oddball charm. Whether named Little Mo or Angelino, Angelo Rosito proved that talent and longevity don't need height to stand tall. Number 8. Charles Tripp. In his prime, Charles Tripp wasn't just the most famous armless performer alive. He was one of Canada's biggest names in entertainment. Tripp was born without arms, but mastered using his feet with incredible precision. While never exhibiting as a child, he gained attention locally for performing everyday tasks with stunning skill. At 17, hungry for more, he heard of a New York showman hiring people with unique talents. With nothing but ambition, he packed up and sought out one name: P.T. Barnum. When he arrived, he walked barefoot into Barnum's office and quietly brushed his hair, folded clothes, and put on socks, all with his feet. Barnum hired him on the spot. Over 50 years, Tripp performed daily tasks, crafted woodwork, and demonstrated remarkable penmanship using only his toes. His tandem bike photo with legless partner Eli Bowen became iconic. Tripp died in 1930 at age 74, leaving behind skill, dignity, and legacy, not pity. Number 7. Admiral Dot. In 1868, P.T. Barnum's American Museum burned down for the final time. Most assumed he'd quit. Instead, he went to San Francisco and discovered Leopold S. Kahn, a little person he claimed was smaller than Tom Thumb. Barnum renamed him Admiral Dot and proudly showcased him in his hotel lobby for weeks. Dot soon joined Barnum's new venture, the Grand Traveling Museum, Menagerie, Caravan, and Circus. He later worked for the American Lilliputian Company and even Barnum's rival, Adam Forepaugh. In 1892, he married Lottie Swartwood, another little person, and the couple settled in White Plains, New York. There, Dot opened the Admiral Dot Hotel, nicknamed Hotel Pee-wee. It became a quirky local landmark. Tragically, both Dot and his daughter were lost to the 1918 influenza pandemic. While he stood only a few feet tall, Admiral Dot made a giant impact on sideshow history. He wasn't just a novelty, he was a headliner who outlasted the flames, fame, and final curtain. Now, this next one will blow your mind. Number 6. The Black Scorpion. The name sounded like a villain, but the Black Scorpion, sometimes billed as Lobster Boy, redefined freak show performance. Born with split-hand malformation, he never wanted sympathy. He wanted presence. In 2008, he took the stage at Coney Island's sideshows by the seashore, later appearing on TLC's Taboo. But he didn't let the stage mock him. He controlled it. He used the spotlight to flip the narrative, turning shame into defiance. This wasn't a revival of the old freak show. It was a reinvention. His act didn't ask for pity. It challenged people to rethink difference. He didn't perform to be pitied. He performed to be respected. By claiming his space unapologetically, he gave others the same permission. His message was blunt. Being different isn't a flaw, it's power. Visibility isn't a curse when you own it. Through raw honesty, wit, and sheer presence. The Black Scorpion made it clear, the stage belongs to whoever has the guts to stand on it. Number 5. Eddie Carmel. Eddie Carmel, the Jewish giant, became a familiar figure during the 1960s sideshow wave. Born in Israel, raised in the Bronx, his extreme growth was caused by a pituitary tumor that led to acromegaly. His size made him a natural for the spotlight. Though Eddie often exaggerated his height and ancestry for effect, he never faded into the background. His lasting legacy came through the lens of Diane Arbus. First photographed at Ringling Brothers in 1960, he became immortalized in her haunting portrait, a Jewish giant at home with his parents. Eddie towers above his Orthodox mother and father, his mom beaming with affection, his dad silent and solemn. He could be charming, but difficult. He wrote poetry, claimed rabbinic bloodlines, and demanded payment from photographers. He lived with chronic pain, but rarely spoke of it. In 1972, at just 36, Eddie Carmel died. Yet that photograph and his complicated presence still speaks volumes. Eddie was more than his body. He was a full story. All right, now, let's move to number 4, the Penguin Lady. Ruth Minion's distinctive body made her instantly recognizable. Born with phocomelia, she had fused fingers, shortened bones, and flipper-like arms, more waddle than walk, which earned her the name the Penguin Lady. She embraced it fully, often performing in a two-piece swimsuit that accentuated her rare form. But her act wasn't some cheap sideshow gimmick. Ruth played the marimba, a wooden percussion instrument related to the xylophone. and earned genuine respect for her musical ability. She appeared on major stages, including Chicago's 1933 Century of Progress Exposition and both 1939 to 40 New York World's Fairs. Off-stage, her life had equal weight. She married twice, first to a man named Largo, with whom she had a healthy child, and later to Earl Davis, known in circus circles as Hoppy the Frog Boy. The couple toured together for nearly a decade before retiring quietly in the 1960s. Ruth's story wasn't about shock. It was about expression, independence, and turning difference into something powerful and public. Number 3. Jeanie Tomaini. Born Bernice Evelyn Smith. In 1916, Jeanie Tomaini entered the world with severely deformed arms and no legs. Standing barely over 2 feet tall, she was performing in sideshows by age 3. Though trapped under the control of a manipulative guardian, she didn't break. Everything changed in 1936 when she met Al Tomaini, billed as the world's tallest man. They eloped in Cleveland, honeymooned at Niagara Falls, and toured together as the world's strangest married couple. Eventually, they settled in Gibsonton, Florida, a town known for housing retired circus performers. Together, they opened Giant's Camp, a fishing lodge and gathering space. They adopted 2 daughters, donated an ambulance to their town, and became local legends. Al died in 1962, but Jeanie kept the camp running until her own death in 1999. Their great-grandson, Alex Marrow, still honors their legacy. Jeanie Tomaini proved that strength isn't in height or limbs, it's in grit, heart, and how you carry yourself in this creepy world. Number 2. James Morris. James took his body into places most people wouldn't even attempt. Born in the late 1800s, he discovered early that his joints bent far beyond normal. While other kids played outside, Morris twisted his arms into loops, pulled his fingers like rubber bands, and wrapped his torso like dough. That strange flexibility became his career. He joined the circus and soon went head-to-head with Felix the Elastic Man, turning himself into a sideshow marvel. Morris could dislocate his shoulders on cue, bend his limbs behind his back, and rotate his neck in impossible ways. Doctors later believed he had Ehlers-Danlos syndrome, a rare connective tissue disorder that causes extreme flexibility and elastic skin. With Ringling Brothers, he wowed crowds not with tricks, but with sheer body control. There was no illusion, just raw, unfiltered biology. Morris didn't fake pain or hide behind curtains. He showed what his body could do and owned every second of it. Well, please don't try it. He already did. And it's for your own best. Number 1. Major Edward Newell. Well, Major Edward Newell, also known as General Grant Jr., was one of Barnum's standout performers. Born Edmund Newell in 1857, he's remembered for marrying Minnie Warren, sister of Lavinia Warren, in 1877. Minnie died the following year during childbirth. After her death, Edward moved to England, marrying Mary Ann Drake, an average height woman, in 1888. They had 2 children, Edmund Charles Jeffries and Daisy Louise. At 13, Newell was billed as the smallest man living, standing 23 inches tall and weighing just 18 pounds. At Barnum's American Museum, he was often photographed beside adults to exaggerate his size. One iconic photo, taken by George Stacy in 1870, cemented his legacy. While many performers faded over time, Newell stayed in the public eye for decades. He died on December 23, 1915, at age 58. His life wasn't defined by size. It was built on longevity, resilience, and performance. In the world of sideshows, Edward Newell left behind a name people still remembered. If you found this video interesting, be sure to like and subscribe. Thanks for watching. We'll see you soon.